Okay, apparently there was a fire down in Ključ, one of the high rises, and there's people trapped up top on the 3rd floor and higher. And the mayor and 2 police came up and asked us for help and support. And we called up at 1 Alpha, and this is what's happening now. Most of our engineers are gone up with their high equipment. Quick reaction force is gone. A couple of the doctors are gone, and any armor over there, they're going down to fight the fire and help out any way they can. But I imagine it's pretty packed down there now anyways, so.
Okay.
That's pretty well, that's all that's going on right now, as far as I know.
Thanks, Corporal.
The water truck? Water truck lead?
No. Right there.
Okay, I'll do that.
What?
Just want to know if the water truck left here. Let him know it is.
Is he leaving?
More than likely, yeah.
He's probably got, has he got any spare seats in front?
Yeah. Unless someone goes with him.
No one goes with him?
If no one goes with him, I guess there's space.
Yeah, usually don't have to.
Thing is, too, they're
I
going to
don't
be,
know.
when they start to boogie, they're going to be boogieing like he might not.
You won't be able to stop him here at the gate.
Because they need water now.
The driver drove down the narrow, darkened road towards the town of Ključ in uncertainty. Smoke from the constantly burning garbage fires alongside the road momentarily clouded the road. The engineer's 22-ton Krupp crane, a Badger armored recovery vehicle, and a couple of Grizzly armored personnel carriers belonging to G Company 2RCR had already left the compound with a couple of dozen soldiers.
We're on our way to Ključ right now, and it's 10 after 1. Crews from Camp Maple Leaf. Responding to a fire in the town.
Oh, this guy broke down.
Make him feel like shit, eh?
I know that guy.
Oh, okay.
By the time we approached the scene of the fire in town, it didn't seem that bad. No flames, but that was rather deceptive. Flashing blue strobe lights of the Canadian medics' ambulances and Bosnian fire trucks reflected off the buildings and vehicles. Headlights cut through the night in all directions. They were the only lights, as there was no power in town tonight. From the distance, I could see people milling about. It took another painfully slow minute for a British soldier to clear us to advance to the fire.
Okay, that's good.
Approaching the building, I could see the smoke swirling around, obscuring the top of the building occasionally. Though I couldn't see any flames yet, an orange haze could be seen behind the building. The engineer crane was fully extended in front of the apartment, a jerry-rigged basket hanging halfway below it. People were gathered in front of the building. Somebody with a handkerchief over his face came out of the 4th floor apartment signaling okay to the crane operator, Sergeant George Curtin. They were searching for people trapped in the building. Behind me across the street, 100 civilians gathered, many comforting each other, some just staring up, watching. About a dozen of these people had just minutes earlier been rescued from the top of the building. In just a few minutes, everyone was safely on the ground, amazingly without a single injury. Around the corner of the building, the fire was still raging out of control alongside the apartment.
Sorry, can't take what that's sorry. There's grenades going off.
There's grenades going
Sorry.
off. All right, no, okay, we're not going any closer. We've got grenades going off in here right now.
Corporal Pitt Keithley, operating a Badger armored engineer vehicle, was attempting to pull the burning debris away from the side of the building. A large wood pile was also blazing, spreading the fire. Our military padre appeared out of nowhere.
Captain, Padre?
Yes.
So what exactly is happening here?
Well, there's a fire in the apartment building, and they come out to the camp just shortly after it started to ask for assistance, and so the RCR and the engineers have come down and assisted out, and the British camp up the street has come down and assisted out in the rescue of the people out of the building. So as you can see, the big crane over there, that's what they let the people down with. And the explosion, or the fire started on this side of the building. Several explosions since then, in terms of grenades and stuff going off.
Any word on injuries or fatalities?
So far, it seems as if there's nothing too serious, is what I've heard so far.
Serious? Yeah. And lucky?
Very lucky, yes. Quick response.
No doubt in part to the Canadian British troops?
Largely due to that, yes. There's quite a large fire on this side here, and it's raining down at the beginning of this one.
An old local fire truck made its way along the street, sputtering badly out of tune. A British soldier was directing traffic around the scene of chaos. Here I could see the building on fire, 3 and 4 stories above the ground.
We still have flames upstairs there? Thanks, Padre.
On the other side of the building, it's on the upper stories. 2 different stories, there's flames shooting out on the other side. So you could get a good picture if you were up.
Stay out of the way! Right.
When I rounded the corner, I could see the extent of damage and the ongoing fire. The flames had jumped from floor to floor. Flames licked out of the windows in the apartment on the 5th, 6th, and 7th floors, where a few hours ago people were sleeping in bedrooms.
How many people?
We got 25 trucks on the roof. That's what they brought down with the crane.
And who brought down? Combat engineer?
Yep.
How many people were on the roof?
There was about 25 trapped on the roof when the engineers got there. They used their crane and brought them down. And before they got there, they were just using one single ladder. They were taking one guy to one floor, moving the ladder up to the next floor, and they were bringing them down like that. And then when the crane got there, they brought the rest of them down.
Who's operating the crane there?
Oh, I don't know, sir.
One of our combat engineers.
Yes, it was, sir.
Obviously, you know, what's happened is the Canadian contingent here, in particular the RCR, the RCD, and the Combat Engineer Regiment have saved a number of lives, about 25 at least, people who were trapped at the top of the building. The Combat Engineer, two Combat Engineer crane was brought in from Camp Maple Leaf and has brought down, from what I understand, at least 3 loads of people in the neighborhood of 25 people who were trapped on the top of the roof, and they brought them down to safety.
Considering bringing the crane over to this side and putting somebody up with the fire hose to put the flames out. Put the flames on there.
They've had to push start an ambulance here. That kind of gives you an indication of the rudimentary conditions these people are in right now.
When he comes back down here, I want to know he's come back.
Kaže, odite sad tamo, na lijevu stranu. Odite, ali kad se vratite, morate da razgovarate s njim, da se zna da ste vratili se.
Okej. Evo ovako, samo dok ste tu. Sa ovim, neka požure odraditi, pošto će ova dizalca preći na ovu stranu, da dignemo gore vatrogasca, da ugasi ovaj 5. sprat.
If you can move this man and to fire to the, on a 5th floor.
If we can move this truck to where?
On a 5th floor, on the top 5th floor.
To go up to the top?
Yeah.
No, it won't reach that far.
Ide on. Možeš li ti korpom? Borg će biti vatrogasac. Važno je da, jer od ozdo ne možemo dohvatiti vodu. Od ozdo ne možemo, ali će od ozdo neći.
Guys, let's clear back. Well, I'm just feeling about this. Paul, let's clear back.
Ovo je moja Bosna, jebo. Evo i ne da daj, objasni čovjek koga ja mentam, on je vatrogasac. Da sam ja profesionalac, ja gorim vatra. Ej, ba jebo. Ne možeš gol. Mobili, pucaj, ajde, pucaj. Aj jebo.
British colonel doesn't want him up there. He's got the other guy gone up there.
Nek sam, to je moj dio posla, ja hoću radim svoj dio posla i kažem. Recimo da je on vatrogasac, to je moj dio posla. Profesional. Can you speak English slow?
Yes, okay. Did you see this right at the beginning, at the fire when it first started? Did you come here? What happened?
Yeah, it's all right.
Chief?
Što varaš, nemoj tako.
Lap, okay.
Tell that interpreter not to leave, eh? Hold your contact, torpedoes! Put your contact up! Right.
Gas canisters.
So none of the grenades have exploded, as far as you know?
As far as I'm aware, there has been no ordnance that's gone off. It's nearly all been gas canisters.
Have you taken them out, or are they still in there, or?
We haven't removed anything from the building.
How about casualties? Any idea on casualties yet?
As far as there are certainly no military casualties, as far as we're aware, and the civilians are saying they got everybody out of the building.
Oh, good.
So it looks as if there are no casualties, but apart from smoke.
What saved the day? What saved the last few lives? I mean, we heard that there were a lot of people.
The local police did an excellent job.
They did, eh?
Yeah,
right on.
Did a very good job.
What did they do when they first got here?
The local police moved straight into the building and started to remove those that they could from the building, and they moved up the exterior of the building to get those from the top floor.
Right, so it was them that had the ladder. I guess they were going like floor to floor and putting people down. Okay, and then when you guys arrived, what did you do? The British?
Well, we assisted the local police, and eventually, when we could get assets here, we put up the crane and the basket and lowered people down. But it was the local police that was certainly leading the situation tonight.
And IFOR helped.
IFOR assisted.
Yeah. By the way, who are you?
I'm the RSM of the Queen's Royal Hussars Battle Group.
Okay, what's your first name?
The name is Tom.
Tom? And what's your last name, Tom?
Hamilton.
Hamilton? And what's your rank?
That's W01 RSM.
Okay, thank you.
We spoke briefly with Major Thompson of G Company, 2nd Battalion RCR, and Major Williams of 2-3 Field Squadron, 2 Combat Engineer Regiment. They were able to confirm that amazingly, the soldiers were able to rescue all the civilians without a single injury.
And raised it up, and it got up about as high as the second last floor. They got ladder coming down one at a time. So we got the crane right in here, put it up, and now we're taking the crane around the back to try to see if we can get the fire from the top.
How many people total did you bring down?
Probably about 15. Most
How
of
long did that take, by the way? Sorry.
But it took them about 5-10 minutes to rig up the crane. Once it was up there, it took about another 5 minutes to get to the top. Another about 5 minutes to unload, so about 15 minutes to get the first bunch down.
The local police were the first authorities to respond. Then IFOR, was it you guys or the Brits who got here first?
The Brits were here. Well, the Brits are just down the road, so some of them were here, but nobody had the right kit to get up there. So, but as far as searchlights and that sort of thing, there was Golf Company had 2 vehicles on site. I'm gonna go around the back and just make sure there's grenades going off, eh?
You're sure it's grenades?
They say there's about 200 grenades in the building, but no, I'm not 100% sure it's grenades.
Okay.
We think some of them were tanks that went off on the left side, but just then when you heard that bang out the back, the locals think they were grenades going off. So I don't know. So that's part of the problem too, is that you don't want to get too close to it. But the only way they're going to fight that fire in the back is from an elevated point. And I'm not sure if the water pressure is going to reach it. I don't know if their water truck is just gone to refill again, and if the local water pressure is going to be enough to get it up there. But that's what we're going to try. I don't want to put our own guys at jeopardy either, though.
In spite of all the confusion and lack of equipment, our soldiers were doing their job well. But then again, it was a situation they were almost used to.
Can't see much, but there's a ladder in front of us here. Apparently this might have been the ladder this was the ladder they were using to bring bodies down, or people down, from the upper floors until the Combat Engineer Regiment crane was able to bring them down. 8-story building, burning now for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. It seems like almost like a pallet cannon technique. Putting it out, what they're trying. They're concerned about water pressure, whether or not it can even make it to the top. But the engineers are doing their best.
A couple of Grizzly APCs had been positioned along the road. The powerful searchlights cut through the smoke-filled air to light the building for Sergeant Curtin, who was operating the crane. He could now see a little more clearly on where he had to position his platform. Corporal Evans assisted Sergeant Curtin by looking out for the firefighters and other personnel on the ground.
He'll come in here shortly anyway.
The hand grenades, can you confirm that there were, in fact, a cache of hand grenades in there?
Apparently there's a cache of 200 hand grenades in there. Since I've been on the scene, I've only heard about a half a dozen go off. One never knows. There's weapons stashed all over this town.
But you're sure that there were hand grenades and not gas containers?
No, not entirely. The gas containers that exploded were down here in the lower level in the woodshed,
right.
And the explosions occurred on the upper level. It's quite possible that someone had propane gas in their apartment.
But to your recollection, they sounded like hand grenades.
Well, because the local police told us that there was a cache of hand grenades here, so we'll take them at face value.
Okay, the local police will tell you that.
Yes.
Your indications there, Major, about building standards?
Yes, well, I mean, these buildings were all constructed pre-war, and Eastern European building standards aren't the same as ours. So they wouldn't have a sprinkler system. And as you've seen yourself, the water pressure in the fire from the fire hydrants and whatnot is not exactly up to the task.
How many of your troops did you mobilize tonight to get them down here?
We probably have in the vicinity of about 20 guys from my company and probably the same number of engineers on the scene. So 40 Canadians all told.
And can you say anything about the response time? Was it to your liking and everything? And
well, yes, we maintain what's called a quick reaction force, which is on about 5 minutes notice to move. When we got the call, they of course were out the gate in 5 minutes, and the rest of the team responded within 15 minutes. So I'm very happy with that.
How about the removal of the civilians from the upper floors in the bucket?
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting operation. Again, that's credit to the engineers, as that vehicle that they've got there is not exactly something that's meant to react quickly like a firefighting vehicle would be. So they did a pretty good job to get it here quickly, set it up, and jury-rigged the bucket system that you see there. When we initially got here, we were using a British crane to bring people off the lower floors.
broj još ima gore.
32 or 35? Yeah, not sure. Or 40, now they said. Vi ste bili u zgradi?
Bio sam gore danas.
He was in the building.
How many people were in the building?
Znate li možda koliko ljudi živi u zgradi? No, he doesn't know. So it's difficult to answer that.
Prijetorno sve s familijom. Familijarno, svi prijetorno sve.
It's 32 apartments and probably 32 families.
Okay. Ask him where he's gonna go.
I made it back around the other side of the building. The truck crane had been repositioned on the street. Armed with a small fire hose and wearing Canadian Kevlar vests over their street clothes, the firefighters looked over the site as their makeshift platform rose. There was a concern there wouldn't be enough pressure in the truck to adequately fight the fire. They were right. A pitiful amount of water spit out of the small hose onto the flames. Often the wind turned the spray into a fine mist before it could even hit the building. It seemed almost hopeless. At least no one needed the mattresses. If this had been anywhere in Canada, the fire would have been contained to a small portion of the building. I was witnessing soldiers doing more than just their jobs. It was a powerful moment for me. We stayed for an hour and a half, finally returning to the camp when it appeared that everything was under control. Everyone was safely off the building with no injuries, a testament to the training and ingenuity of our combat engineers. Without access to a satellite truck, this story was never broadcast in Canada. It never did make the news.